there's always situations where it's like, man, I feel like I'm caring more about this than everyone else. And I know that I come off like the asshole, bro.
It's literally you're jumping out of a plane without a parachute and you're just trying to figure it out.
During the whole time for the 6 years I was modeling for Nike, I was building my personal brand and just leveraging Nike. Like, bitch, I'm the boss. Nike, you guys work for me.
Dan Martell says 80% done by somebody else. It's 100% awesome.
The self-development books, bro, like literally, it just opens your minds up. You know, we already talked about that. Once your mind expands, it can never go back to its original state.
On one end, I've got people, they come in and they talk shit about me, but I've also got people that have called like, yo, is Nico busy? Because we need him to fly here and do this because he's the only one that could do this. It's everyday life that you should be focused on building those relationships because you never know what will come of those.
You have to be strategic because let's not forget, right? I also come from corporate. You guys have to think about it. Anywhere you interact, it's a community.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the rawest corner of the culture where money meets mindset. Fitness meets fashion. We all got something going on. Hey, man, it feels like it's been a long week between... It feels like a long week between the pods. Honestly, I was thinking about it yesterday. This is the first week where we haven't spoken every single day. Because I feel like we all just been so busy.
Yeah, we've been locked in,
We've been
bro.
locked in on different projects and different things we got going on. Like, we still tap in, obviously.
Facts.
But we haven't had like a full conversation, but I'm still kind of digesting the last two episodes.
Yeah, the last two episodes were amazing, bro.
Yeah.
For our first guest, I think those are really good first guests.
Yeah.
Especially coming from people who've like seen success so fast, you know, in the industry that's really hard to see success and be profitable and, you know, get their products in the hands of those type of people. You know what I mean? Get your products in the hands of the celebrities that they did. So like, shout out to them for hopping on the pod, man. That's love. I can't wait to see all the other guests that we get on here.
Not only that, man, like it's so cool to see that at the level that they're operating still, they're so ground level.
Yeah.
And they were able to open up, share with the public a lot of golden nuggets. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I'm very excited. Yeah. I'm very excited for the people that are going to be showcased here in this podcast.
Absolutely. And even the audience has been amazing. You know, the feedback that we've received, you know, everybody's always learning something, which is really cool, which is like, what's the point? And then even Brando, I asked him, he goes, yeah, bro, it feels like, you know, it's not uptight. It's just, you know, you're having a conversation, you know, it's like so laid back and like, it's not scripted or, you know, like that. It's like, it's just chill. And he goes, I love that about it. So,
and you know, I love that we're building such a genuine platform already. It's like, I think we all came into this with an idea of where we're going to go.
Right.
You know, especially once our first couple meetings and we started planning this stuff out, man, I think honestly, to tell you the truth, it's already surpassing where I was even thinking, right? Like, especially when you got somebody like Fads and Brando coming up here and dropping free game, things that like we know because we're around this stuff all in our separate ways, right? Like we always talk about the variety that we have here, but to even hear like the variety within their business, and I love the fact that we did a part one and a part two. Because they both had so many special things to talk about.
They bring different things to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can tell, the creative and the businessman, you know what I mean? And that's
I was going to say,
you know, it's very obvious, you know what I mean? Brando's the guy who's, you know, he's obviously the creativity and, you know, everything they puts into the brand from design. It's like, you can see his inspirations. Yeah. Go as far back as where the Rob Deerdeck's, the, you know, skate culture, you know what I mean? Like, that's like where I remember that like it was yesterday.
To me, it's crazy. Again, the fact that I'm countries away, yet I am still tuning into MTV.
Yeah, right.
And the whole DC culture.
Dude, that's so powerful.
That's crazy.
I love it.
Skate culture is so powerful.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, it's cool to see where that came from that. And you have Fads on the other hand, who just the business and connection and the visionary who could just put plays together. Yeah. And so like to see both of them come together, it's like the perfect combo. And that's what you need. And you know, you need a team in any business that you do. You know what I mean? Just like we have here, like I couldn't just do this by myself. You couldn't just do this by yourself. Costa, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's like we all bring a different aspect to this podcast, just like other people bring different aspects to their businesses. You need a team. You can never do this alone. Anything really, but you have the right people around you, that's how you grow and prosper.
That's actually, yeah, man. Like, let's go ahead and actually stay on the topic. For example, myself, right? I find myself in the space of being a creative. I picked up a camera. I learned how to shoot video. I started creating some dope stuff around Phoenix and got my name around. Not only because of creating good stuff, but because they knew that if Costa was going to deliver, he was going to deliver.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I always try to keep a standard to that. But where I'm getting at is, as a father, you have to make choices. Am I doing this just to have a side hustle? Where is this going to go? A whole lot of thinking goes on. And as I just keep learning from this 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, you touched on it. A team is absolutely needed. But as a creative, sometimes you're so married to your look.
Oh, yeah, bro. I feel this so much.
You're just so attached to your signature.
Yeah.
And I get it. You're putting your name on the line. You're recognized because of that specific look or aesthetic and all of that. But what I learned is Dan Martell says 80% done by somebody else, it's 100% awesome.
Yeah.
So if you really think about it,
Never heard that.
Like if you really think about it, what do companies do? They acquire talent, they train it, and then hopefully you cross fingers that you're hiring an A player.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately for us that we're on the come up, it's way more difficult because now we're investing into someone else. We don't know if it's going to work out or not. So it really depends on how ready you are to let go, how true you are to yourself in terms of like how I'm going to build this business. Because for example, me as a creator, as myself in the video agency aspect of things, I wouldn't say just the video in itself, but you have to be careful who you bring to your corner.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten clients poached because I introduced people and I opened up, and people have to realize that unfortunately this is just steps that you're going to have to walk through your journey. So,
you know, I love our conversations. Like, honestly, I do, because it's like, I watch the podcast back over and over again, and I pick up things we talk about. But not only that, like when we're having our conversations, like one-on-ones or like our group sessions, like these are the things we talk about. And that's why it's so powerful, because it's like when Costa's delivering this message right now of being tied to an image, it hits so hard. I know he does. I know he knows it hits hard because struggling with it right now, right? I love when we're able to sit down in this arena and still talk about have conversations, still touch on all these things, and feel like all these moments are just coming full circle constantly. And man, because that was beautiful.
Even like what are you saying? Like, you know, when you have to like get people on your team, like that's like, bro, that's like one of the things I feel like it stopped me from like even scaling my, because it's like you are attached to your look, you are attached to like how you do things, your system's operation, you know what I mean? And then being able to, you know, because I've had times where I had a social media manager for for Leaders Only actually, and that was like helped me create the content for it, but they didn't have the eye for it. You know what I mean? And they didn't have the eye for what, like, you know, from the psychology standpoint, what points are going to hit and actually like do really well. They were just kind of just doing it just because I'm paying them and it's just like a job. Their passion there's not the same. You know what I mean? That's what's hard when you hire anybody.
Okay, but you have to understand, you know, like Gary Vee slaps entrepreneurs all the time. He says it's completely crazy of you to think that someone else is going to pour their 100%. And I mean, like, don't get me twisted. And that is the power of a personal brand, right? There are those super fans that are like, yo, let me tap in. How can I help? I mean, shit, dude, how did the podcast get started?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. There are, but it's a huge, my first hire, I went through possibly 200 applicants that I sat down.
Grind.
And like nobody's doing that for me. Nobody's teaching me how to do that. That's why I keep referring to jumping from the airplane. I remember scrolling and coming across certain quotes like that. Man, this cliche shit. Like whatever. And now that I live it, is like, wow.
It's real. They meant something.
Like it's literally you're jumping out of a plane without a parachute and you're just trying to figure it out. And I tell my wife all the time, is like, when you met me, we used to live in a garage that was converted into an apartment.
Right.
And all I knew was my 4 years of X-ray technician field experience that I had.
Right.
I don't even use that at all.
Right.
So it's an ever evolution of pursuing your greater self.
How scary was that jump?
It was very methodical. It was very strategic. Since I was a kid, I always wanted to be part like entrepreneur. Just speaking about fathers, my dad, he had to figure it out. He doesn't call it sales. He calls it commerce. He says that he loves interacting with people, but because of the lack of education, he would call it like that.
Yeah. Years
later, when I start walking this path, then I get to learn that sales is an actual profession.
Yeah.
And that you get to sell at high level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that story when I started learning how to do high ticket and all of that. Yeah. But I remember seeing my dad just grinding, trying to figure it out and where and this. And I remember he used to pay for my private school. It was private because they would teach you English, which, by the way, is complete BS. Yeah, when I came here to the U.S. and I didn't know any English, it was like, okay, yeah, private school. Just to make sure I was providing for my family, I had my career and I had to build something else. I was slanging Nintendo 64 video games. I was fixing broken iPhones and flipping them on eBay.
Yeah.
And I just had a little bit of money. I learned the skill. That was the scariest part. Investing my last $2,000 is like, dude, like what? Fuck. What do I do? Do I invest in this course? And am I going to just BS around, or am I going to get serious? There's no scalability to selling retro video games, at least the volume that I needed here in Phoenix. Like you can't find them even garage selling or anything like that.
Right.
So I was first doing little side hustles to get my bag up, but eventually I always wanted to be around entrepreneurs.
The big dogs.
I always wanted to be a business owner. Even in high school, I remember like my little clique of Hispanic friends, because I wouldn't even kick it with the Western culture kids from high school because they wouldn't accept us. Right. Because we wouldn't speak English.
Right.
So we were called paisas. Paisa is like you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's very popular for you to be a fucking paisa. Now everybody wants a paisa, you know? Like even white girls are dating Hispanics and whatnot. But even then, we would always speak about business and like, what are you doing? And what was your come up? And it's very common, I would say, within the Hispanic community to hear stories of someone grinding, trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's to me, that's the beauty of Hispanic culture, though. That hard work ethic. That
bro.
Like,
the fuck,
you know, like willing to do what they got to do to provide,
to get it done, bro. You know what I mean? Like, there's no complaints, no nothing. You don't ever hear, you know, if you think of Hispanics and especially in working environment, they don't complain, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't go. It just get the job done. Okay, what needs to be done? Say less, bro. And that's what's needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fucking needed. A lot of people want to complain and entitled. There's no entitlement when it comes to, like, even all my day ones, bro. They work their fucking asses off, bro. Yeah. There's no entitlement. They don't expect anything. They just get the job done, and that's that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I mean, to this point, right, it's very difficult for me to even slow down and appreciate what we've built.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like I'm super behind.
Same, bro.
And with full transparency, man, like I'm not ashamed to say that even at 35, I still struggle with financial planning and to make sure that everything is running smoothly and everything. So for you guys, like the listeners out there,
there's no age.
Just exactly. Like there's no age for this thing. Like there's no age. And unfortunately, we have become hyper connected just because of social media. Mm-hmm. And yes, of course, there's going to be the anomalies of like 20-year-olds becoming millionaires and things like that. But, you know, just enjoy your process. Yeah. Just enjoy your process. But to go back and to answer your question, it was scary. There's moments, there's stages of fear.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole entrepreneur journey. When you decide to focus on killing your own to provide for your family, it becomes very tricky. Yeah. So for example, first is identifying what you're going to do. And it's okay for you guys that are out there feeling like, man, I feel like I'm jumping from thing to thing and like it's just not clicking. To an extent, that's okay. You have to go through a journey to figure out what it is that clicks for you. Okay. At 25, I discovered Forex. I attempted to do Forex and it was going fairly well. I was dumb, didn't take care of what I needed to take care of, lost all my money. I discovered e-commerce. I actually started an e-commerce brand.
Yeah.
And I started selling stuff online. I built my own. I taught myself how to build websites. I taught myself how to do Shopify. I taught myself how to deal and find people abroad to do the whole drop shipping situation. Yeah. So, and again, it's a journey, right? All of this started when I was 25. Now I'm 35. But I was lucky enough that I found something that I was passionate enough. And the key is consistency. I decided to stick with it for so long. I found what it was that I needed. Then I knew I needed to get my reps in, get the reputation, get known, get good at it, right? Like any job, if you don't have experience, nobody's going to want to hire you.
Right.
So that's that. I built my creative business for roughly, I want to say my freelance aspect business for about, I want to say maybe 4 years. And October 19th, 2023, that was the second scary moment where I realized that my part-time freelancing job was generating more income than my 60-hour-a-week W-2.
Right.
I have data in front of me. I see the numbers. I see the current situation. I was blessed enough that at the moment I didn't know that it was a business model. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. I had some recurrent monthly clients that were kind of my staple. And it's just a moment where you just truly sit down and you pray. Yeah. You prayed. It's scary when you have your father, when you have your hero tell you, you know what, son, I'm actually very proud of you. Because the question that you're asking me at this moment, it's information that actually fall outside of my experience.
You've gone somewhere he's never gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do, man?
Figure it the fuck out, right?
It's faith. I'm not trying to get super religious. I'm a man. Of course, I believe in God. I grew up in a Christian/Catholic household. But when I say faith, it's faith in yourself. Yeah. It's faith in yourself and knowing that you do have what it takes to pick that blade up and go slay dragons for your family. When you become a father, when you become that head of household, the game is just different. At least for the guys that have their heads in their shoulders and aren't fucking serious about becoming a father. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, for you guys, the bum ass dads that are out there just not showing up and then just doing sketchy shit, man, do better.
Yeah, facts.
The world needs better people, man.
We obviously always touch on this fatherhood topic. I think we all agree. We talked last week about a certain superstar that we caught wind of some information. Don't know if we can rock anymore.
Yeah, dude. That's so lame, bro.
It's to Costa's point, but there's something that you touched on that I thought was the beautiful piece of it all. And when you talked about you got to kill your own.
Yeah, bro.
You know, and really sit there and come up with that plan of what that looks like, right? Of like destroying what you feel you've built and who you feel you are right now for the sacrifice of something so much greater, right? And I'm sure we've all had moments, but one thing I think of personally, right, is like, man, T, you came from working with a brand like Nike to becoming the big brand yourself. Like in that transition, like obviously we spoke about Costa's scary moments. What were yours?
Fuck. There's a lot of scary moments, bro. There's a lot of scary moments because even when I was modeling for Nike, I was telling people at Nike that I work for, I'm like, I'm building my own brand now. You know what I mean? And I'm telling, and it's so funny because like, I think like at that time, I think my conviction and my confidence in myself in building a brand, because this was during the era where, you know, the internet just started, Instagram just started. And I was like, you know what? I was like the only model who had like, I have my own, I was like, I went right when I got picked up for modeling, I was like, oh, I'm getting me a logo. I'm turning myself into something. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is the perfect time to do it. I got the perfect leverage. And the other models, they weren't thinking like that. They all like had jobs, you know what I mean? So they're like, okay, this is my little side hustle and make some money, this and this. But I'm in my brain, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm building a whole brand. I'm picking my aesthetic, my colors, my logo. That was my mindset. And I was just fresh out of fucking college. You know what I mean? I was just like really fresh. I had no idea what marketing was. I knew what it was. I didn't know how to do it. I just knew First and foremost, I need a logo. That was my first instinct when I think of a personal brand. When I think of any type of brand, a Nike, Apple, they all have a logo that's representation of them. So that was my first thought. It was like, okay, I need to get one. So I got my first logo made, and boom, that's when it started. And I started pushing myself as such. And so even when I was modeling for Nike, people at Nike were following me, like some of the department directives and stuff like that. Some people loved it. It's so funny because some people loved it and then others didn't like it so much. I rubbed them the wrong way for whatever reason. I don't see how I can rub anybody the wrong way. I'm so nice. and so like literally, they ran this one lady the wrong way, bro. And then it actually, what happened was, I don't think she liked me for whatever reason. I was always nice to her. But she actually called me one time, and not called me, she called my agency. And then the agency was like, hey, like, you know, like, you're never going to work for Nike ever again.
Oh
yeah, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was a couple years afterwards.
Okay. But hold on. So what actually,
okay,
what
happened was I was late to like a shoot. You know what I mean? And then like I felt bad, you know what I'm saying? But I sat down and I was like, bro, like, but she was like talking to us like we were crazy. She was talking like, you know, if you're not modeling for Nike or modeling for us, you're probably working at McDonald's. I'm like, bitch, like don't get shit twisted. Like this is for fun money. This is for fun coupons. You know what I'm saying? This is my side. This is my, even though it's my main, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, this is my side. She's like, don't think I'm gonna do this shit forever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not on plan on being like this forever. Like I'm gonna make something of myself. So I took that personally. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, this bitch is crazy. And then like someone in the little like girl models overheard me and then fucking told her what I said, bro. Yeah. And they're like, and then she literally was like, she called. This is power relationships. This is a power relationship. Like I said, I think she was the only one that didn't like me at Nike. Everybody else that like, I was so nice
that they ratted out on.
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, what the fuck? And so they did that, and they did that, right? And so I got a call, and she was like, yo, you're never gonna work for Nike again. And then she called my agency. My agency called me. They're like, yeah, you're probably never gonna. I'm like, damn. Oh, well, like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take back what I said. I'm like, she was a bitch.
Yeah. And that's like the world of, they're stepping over you.
Yeah. And she like, you know, and like, you know, you're at Nike, you know, you're like picking and choosing all the models. So you have that feel like authority.
Do you feel probably that also hinder possibilities with any other brands?
No. Here's what happened. I didn't finish. So yeah, I got fucking, she told me I was going to be done. Okay. 2 weeks later, a week later, I get a call from my agency. It was like, Nike Golf wants you to come. Nike Golf wants you to come shoot. And I was like, who booked me? She's like, they're like such and such. I was like, because we've been, like I told you, I build relationships, bro. So like, just because one person, we locked in, no matter, and the Nike's huge. Yeah. So there's different departments, right? Mm-hmm. And so Nike Golf called me, which I didn't expect out of, you know, I don't play golf, you know what I'm saying? I would love to learn, but I've never played golf in my entire life. But they're like, you know, we love your look. You know, with Nike, bro, when modeling for them, it's all about how you fit the clothes. Like I'm like, my body type is like the prototype of an average but fit human being. You know what I mean? I'm not too big, not too small. You know, I'm 6 foot. I'm not, you know, it's like, so I fit their clothes really, really well. So I ended up modeling for a full year, bro. Even after I was told I was not going to work for Nike ever again. That's why I tell people, build your relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because if I didn't have a relationship with other departments and the people that like co-sign for me, like, no, T's awesome. You know what I mean? Like he's always polite. He always shows up, you know, has a good time. He always puts a smile on people's faces. And when he's here, he's fun to work with. You know what I mean? He's confident. I don't have to like give him much instruction. This other lady was just in her fucking feelings because I was confident in myself. You know what I mean? I didn't take her shit. I was like, yo, like, I don't give a fuck who you think you are. I know who I am. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful and I'm blessed for modeling for Nike, but don't get shit twisted. This is not where I'm going to end. Yeah. And that's when that transition came. That's what happened. I was like, okay, bet. Now I'm done modeling for Nike. I'm like, I'm not tripping because during the whole time for the 6 years I was modeling for Nike, I was building my personal brand and just leveraging Nike. Like, bitch, I'm the boss. Nike, you guys work for me. You feel me? I switched my mindset. I'm like, I'm modeling for you. No. You're in my book of business. Yeah. You guys are lucky to have me. You feel me? Don't get shit twisted. I don't say that in a cocky way. I say it in the way that I'm a fucking brand, bro.
But see, it all comes down to that confidence in what it is that you bring to the table. But it's really unfortunate, right, that we see over and over again people that are put in places of power and they just abuse it. Yeah. Just the fact, and it really, really fucking sucks because it has happened to me on a low level. Yeah. Just because of the fact that you're a good vibe, people like you, like you shine, you bring like a different aura to the set. And then just because you don't click with that specific person, they just decide to shit on you.
Yeah, they try to ruin you,
and they're like, look at what happens.
It's weird.
It's crazy,
It's weird to me. You know what I mean?
So I without saying who I work for, I don't like to put that.
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
Right? You know what I mean?
My shit was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I work in a place where it's an environment of like masculinity, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same way. Like the same way I am in life is the same way I am at work. I don't let those things change me. I show up and do my job, but I'm gonna go around and talk to people.
Yeah.
And make people laugh, stuff like that. And it's opened a lot of doors, but it's also closed a lot of doors.
Bro.
It's like on one end, I've got people, they come in and they talk shit about me, right? About me, to me, whatever. Brush it off. But I've also got people that have called like, yo, is Nico busy? Because we need him to fly here and do this because he's the only one that could do this.
Right.
But it's the power of relationships, even in like, and I say that and I bring it up to say it's everyday life that you should be focused on building those relationships because you never know what will come of those. Absolutely. You never know what opportunities. So yeah, it's like, it's in the branding department and like the marketing world and like the things that we live in, right?
Yeah.
But it's also, if you have a 9-to-5, don't be afraid of being able to step out and talk and be open and be friendly and build those relationships as well.
You have to be strategic because let's not forget, right? I also come from corporate America, 9-to-5. I had to build up. I worked for a huge insurance company. Again, I don't want to do names because I don't know what the deal is in there, but it's true. You guys have to think about it. Anywhere you interact, it's a community.
Yes.
Anywhere. And as we've said before, you're selling yourself. So you're going to click with certain people and you're not going to click with others, right? That doesn't mean that you're going to, unfortunately, have to switch who you are to please other ones and able to scale up or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's more of, it brings me and it rolls out to the topic that we wanted to touch on, which is self-awareness. You have to be realistic of your environment. And not lie to yourself, because if this is just an ends to a meet, okay, cool. Get your bag up, stack it, but realistically just go ahead and move on. Because you don't want to be at a place where your soul is getting crushed every single day. Trust me, I've lived it. And then I learned that I needed a pivot. So with you, Nico, for example, that you're still in corporate America, have you had to deal with any upper managers, supervisors, in terms of you having to hold back because there's slashes? Or how do you mediate, or how do you know how much to actually fight back and not get in trouble?
So y'all know me. I'm a hothead.
You're about to crash out.
I'm very self-driven. I'm very motivated to do the things that I feel need to be done, and want to be done. I'm the type of employee, it's like, I'm going to go above and beyond because you gave me a project and I have pride in what I do. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there's always situations where it's like, man, I feel like I'm caring more about this than everyone else. And I know that I come off like the asshole, bro. But I feel like my job, me personally, I feel like it's very critical because I've seen the extreme of my job and how it can hinder and destroy products. You know what I mean?
I mean, the products that you're working with are very important products, bro. These aren't like, some,
these ain't just
grocery store, these ain't
Legos.
Yeah, Legos and shit, bro. It's like real life, like shit.
So it's like, man, I have it all the time where it's like, I feel like I'm going to war about something, right? And then I really just reel back. And it's happened recently. I reel back and I'm like, man, this isn't important to them. It's too important to me, and it shouldn't be my problem because there are other things I'm focusing on. And I think that's the hardest part about the 9-to-5 grind, because like we all know, like we're building something here. And I'm also building something with my personal brand. And I have a goal that I want to get to. But I understand right now, like it's doing me well. It's serving me well. So it's no reason, we've had this conversation, it's no reason to just walk away right now. I could, but it's no reason to, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm starting to realize, and honestly, it's funny that you speak of it because it's happening more recently now, because it's hard for me to put my pride in my work aside to be able to be like, man, I got to let it go, right? But there's another reason why it's so tough for me. The place I'm at right now is part of the plan. It's always been part of the plan. Even like the pod we talk about, we've been talking about this for years, right? And I had a supervisor. I'm much of a manifester. So I was talking to a couple of the guys. I'm like, hey, like, this is where I'm going to be in life, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is who I'm going to be, right? And dude came up and he said, hey, you'll never be that because you don't have a work ethic like me. You don't have a good enough work ethic.
You dead ass?
I'm dead ass serious. And now y'all know how I work. But this dude is a dude. He just works in circles to satisfy his
ego.
You know what I mean? So like that's another thing for me. And like that plays in the back of my head almost as like a fucking joke.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm gonna show you type shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like it's things like that where I look at situations and I'm like, it just doesn't deserve my time.
Right.
Because I've started to realize and understand, or rather I've started to accept that other people, this just isn't their priority.
Right.
So I've got to step back and I've got to control what I can control, and I've got to live in my world to a degree and still understand I have obligations here. Any moment I can, focus on the things that are important to me and what's going to take me to the next level. That's what's more important. Because at the end of the day, like I've got a mission there, right? And that's fine. But my mission in life is so much grander than what's on the table. And I'm not saying quit your 9 to 5. If you have a 9 to 5 that's making you good money and like it's helping support you and it's not a strain on everything you got going on, stay there. I hate that. I hate the conversation of quit your 9 to 5 and jump into this full time.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I had that conversation.
And trust me, I've been around so many, and I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good.
Like I've had so many conversations with high level people that recommend that's scary.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be that person out there that will do it because you have influence over them. But unfortunately, they do not have the grit to make things happen. So, and even you and I, we've shared conversations and we've said, do not quit your 9 to 5. Look at what I did. I did not quit my 9 to 5. I just stacked up on the side. Eventually I built a Rolodex. Yeah. It didn't happen once or twice or 3 times where I was like, man, like it happened a few times. Maybe I could go ahead and do it. No, like I made sure I had recurring business that I was already well known, 1 or 2 years under the belt. And then when I saw data in front of me, that's when I decided to make the jump. But you touched on it. For the listeners out there, this is a great opportunity. You have 2 creators that have been able to step out of the 9 to 5 and have a business. And well, we both have a business. And then you have your business, you're building it up, but you're still in the 9 to 5. So this kind of conversations is crucial for you guys because you get to see someone that is still inside and that T and I actively are working on helping him also break the cycle. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow the journey. I'm trying to get to 100K months. I'm flying out to Texas very, very soon. A whole lot of very exciting things are happening. T is dialing down his coaching business and whatnot. So make sure you guys stay tuned and make sure you follow with all of the stories.
But definitely, I think definitely keep your job, bro. I had so fun. I had in my community, I had a long talk and I was like telling them, I'm like, yo, like don't leave your job. Cause I tried to do that, and I have grit, don't get me wrong. But boy, the stress
those bills
and the bills and dude and everything, bro. Like I was at like some of my lowest points and I didn't have to be. You know what I mean? I chose to be because I wanted to be that person that like, no, fuck that shit. I'm going to get it out the mud. It's not. But it wouldn't hurt. My ego and my pride got in the way of like getting like, when I worked for the other company, that was the first time I got a job in forever. But, they paid me very well. So, I was very happy, So I wasn't complaining. But before, I wish I would have kept my job. I wish I didn't put that because I was doing that with marketing. How marketing goes in the beginning. They're like, oh, leave your job, this and that, go all in, da-da-da. Bro, that was the dumbest shit I could have done in my entire life, bro. I wish I didn't do that. And everybody that I talk to now, I'm like, they're like, bro, I want to quit my job. I'm like, why? I mean, I get it, but like, focus on, if you can't take the time, it's about time management. You know what I'm saying? If you can't take the time that you have available to build something while also getting your 9 to 5, you're not ready to leave your 9 to 5. You can't even manage your time properly. Why the hell would you leave your 9 to 5 and focus on it? You can't even take that 9 to 5 or 93 and then take the rest of your day and then capitalize on that. You are not ready. You're not ready. Once you can do those things, or you've set up a proper routine where you can manage your time to get both done at the same time, that's when, and you can do it efficiently for months and months on end. That's when I feel like you kind of step away because you've learned to manage your time. You've been disciplined in different things. But some people want to leave their job and they haven't even done the first step. You know what I mean? It was just basic time management as a human being. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, I'm getting 9 to 5. And I'm like, okay, Ben, now I'm going to work. I'm going home, go to sleep, watch Netflix.
That's the thing. So for example, I call in getting your MMA sorted out. What does MMA stand for? Your money making activities.
Yes.
Okay. So once you already know what it is that you're doing with your time, I want to be mindful because I know we got a little Bray here, but once you figure out what you do with your time, and you touched on it, right? I've had chances where I see grown men look at my calendar, and trust me, man, my calendar compared to some of my clients, like it ain't shit.
Right.
And they tell me, like, man, like what's all this? Like, what do you do? Like, if it's completely foreign. I remember back in the day, I used to be the guy that, man, I'll remember. Like, I remember. I don't have to put it on a calendar. I don't have to book my appointments. Like, man, I'm sharp. I'm sharp.
Yeah.
Until you start doing grown up shit.
Yeah.
Until you start doing business owner shit. Mm-hmm.
People are paying you big dollars.
Your name is attached to high amounts, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You better sharpen up, boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, I'm in that because usually I'm the type. I'm like, you know, when Iron Man turns on Jarvis and he's looking for, and he's like moving things around. Yeah. That's me mentally. I'm pretty good at like knowing what and where, right?
You definitely, that's definitely you for sure.
And I was talking to somebody this week and I'm like, bro, my schedule is just too much to just try to just wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, speaking to your point, like being in it actively, I'm an active father. I've got a 9 to 5. I go to the gym, not every day, but 3 to 5 times a week. I like to wake up and do my cardio. I enjoy my breakfast. You know, we do the pod. We work on the pod outside of this. I work on my own creative stuff. I work with gym rippers. They need UGC, whatever. I've got to fit that in the schedule. The schedule's insane.
Yeah. I think that's the trick though, and that's the beauty. And a lot of people take it undermined, I guess, because a lot of people say, why would I book my lunches? Or why would I book 2 hours in a calendar for content creation? There's an accountability aspect of it, to it, when you see it in there. Yeah. And you're following up on the things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. So if you think that, oh man, for me to booking Google Calendar, my workout 5:30 in the morning till 7:30 or something like that, it's silly. You might want to reconsider. Yeah. You might want to reconsider because eventually if you're trying to get to those high level places, I've seen clients of mine, I've even trying to get into the habit as well, where they book their commute time.
That's crazy. That's when you know your schedule packed for real.
Oof, yeah.
Commute time is crazy.
Because you got to make sure.
Yeah.
But like I have assistants calling me, telling me, Steve, what's the address here? Okay, 25 miles, this. Okay, it's going to take him this. And I have visuals on their calendar. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for example, hot yoga, breakfast with the kids, breath work, you know, journaling, meeting at meeting with, level 10 meeting and X, Y, and Z and commute time, podcast with Steve or It's real.
Yeah.
Like it's time management. It's real. So for you guys, if you haven't even thought of your MMAs, do yourself a favor, start getting into practice, start getting into habits. It has taken you 20 plus years, 30 plus years to get to this point where perhaps you have developed bad habits. Mm-hmm. What makes you think that in just 2 weeks, you're just, boom, get it done?
It don't work like that.
We were speaking before the pod, and I told you guys, man, a lot of the things I learned, it was from people in the streets, like whether it be my family in the streets or like people around in the streets. I grew up in the Bronx, New York, man. We didn't,
concrete jungle. Stop playing.
Yeah, we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like different, right? Yeah. So it's like even things like this. Like I'm gonna make the commitment here on the pod. I got to get with you and learn how to schedule better.
Okay,
I have to because I never learned those things growing up. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the importance of a platform even like this because man, there's people out there that don't know these things.
Just basic stuff.
It's the importance of your circle. It's the importance of your circle.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's something else I wanted to say too, right? It's like, you know, when you're in this transition of like figuring out what you're getting out of life, whatever your goal is, it doesn't have to be content creation,
whatever it is.
It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship. Like if you just want to get right in the gym, whatever it is, finding that circle. Like I'm so blessed to have these two because every day we talk.
Shit, man, we're blessed to have you.
Likewise,
hey,
bro.
I appreciate y'all.
You already know, you know the vibes. You already know.
Saying, like really, man.
That shit goes unsaid. You don't have to say that. You already know the
appreciate
vibes.
y'all. And it's like for real, every day I'm learning something. Like we were on that call last night.
Yeah.
And I was so quiet. It was to the point where I knew it was coming.
I was getting concerned to a point. It's like, man, this dude is just being a fanboy on T. And because yesterday we had a pre-rollout. We always try to like get together and talk about the points that we're going to be addressing here. And I was just giving T his kudos. He transparent. Like he really, his quotes, his leaders only thing, him showing up. It really picked me up from bad places. And I started noticing that my boy Nico was just like sitting there and he was just consuming. And then I started getting worried. I'm like, man, this dude probably thinking that I'm just being a fanboy right now, man.
Nah, bro. I was so locked into what y'all were saying.
Okay.
I was learning, bro. Like, and I give you your flowers all the time. I give T all his flowers all the time too. But bro, since we've started working with you, I can only think like, what's next? What am I bringing to the table? What can I provide for people?
I love that.
To be able to not only take them to the next level, but help me get to the next level too and continue that growth. You know, we're talking about like offers and, you know, talking contracts and endorsements, sponsorships. How do we work with this brand? How do we work with this person? Yeah. Like literally you talking, I'm just like, I'm locked in, bro.
Thanks, man.
And I'm locked in so much that it's like it comes off like I'm just like, oh, like what the fuck? Like no, bro.
I could tell. I could feel it. I was like, he's listening. Those wheels are turning because we were talking about like
because you know way more than me, right?
I can tell. No, I can tell, bro's wheels are turning. I'm like he's listening. He's learning. Yeah. He's being more observant.
I love that, man.
You know what I mean? Because some people don't need to talk to listen and to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that you guys will learn from me is I truly love giving back. Mm-hmm. I truly love giving back so much that unfortunately has gotten me into the fucking wrong direction. Yeah. It has gotten me in trouble.
People take advantage of that shit.
Again, unfortunately, me seeking to grow the team and things like that, I introduce people, clients get poached, and we're not talking like low money things. We're talking like thousands of dollars getting poached, right? So it's cool again, and we say it all the time. Like we reciprocate the energy. Like the love is mutual, and sometimes, and please, like you guys are gonna have to hold me accountable. So I'm just so passionate about what we do that sometimes it may come off annoying to the wrong crowds. So if at any moment you feel like, all right, Costa, hold up, let's notch it down a bit, then just check me real quick. But it comes from a place of good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we had the one conversation, right? And it's like, I think and that's why I spoke to you after. I was like, dude, like I want you to know, like I'm not upset or like annoyed or anything.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like our conversations, they don't have to be soft. We don't have to cater to each other's feelings.
Right.
And we got to understand, like, if we want to be honest, we're running a business right now.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly.
We all have goals. We all have separate goals.
Yeah.
And then we have the goal with this together, and we all have separate visions of this. Yeah. And that's why we got the checks and balances that we have but we tend to agree on things, but it's really like Costa, I don't really know if I'm like.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll let each other know if we don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, which I love. You know what I mean, and that's like when you guys are building your teams, you gotta tell people like, look, bro, I'm gonna tell you things that like want to make you better. It's nothing. It's never an attack. You know what I mean? It's never. It's like, what do you think about this? Nah, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I think so. But also always give a reason why. Don't just say no and then not explain.
It's actually one of the processes that we include during our hiring process.
Yeah.
During our discover calls, we always ask them, is like, well, how do you take criticism?
Yeah.
How do you take criticism?
That's fucking you.
And
that's mandatory, bro.
I've had people tell me, oh, well, I mean, I try to take it as best as I can, but with transparency, sometimes like it just hurts my ego because I worked so hard and I'm like, yeah, next.
Yeah, no, it's tough, bro.
You know, it's okay if it hurts your ego, but how do you operate?
Yeah, exactly. It's okay if you hurt your ego. That's fine. Sometimes,
cool.
sometimes you need your
like,
fucking ego hurt.
Yeah, like this is not your business. This is not your special project that you've created. So there's going to be some compromising.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and it's like, I'm cool. Like if you get upset, talk shit about me for a second, then come back and then we lock in and then we back to it. It's good. I'm cool with that. I don't care.
Right. Never let shit linger, bro.
Yeah, we can't.
Find a solution. You know what I mean? Whatever the problem is, find the problem. I mean, you know, break it down and then find a solution and move on.
Well, that's why it's called teamwork.
Yeah.
Right. It's supposed to be like if you're being transparent. Do you know the amount of disservice that I'm doing to you by lying and trying to
bro?
By not
that's my thing.
And that's how we got started. I told you guys, like, just please be like, if something is not clicking, you're not doing me a service by just being polite.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't mean you have to be an asshole the way you call people out or anything like that. Of course, learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
Of course, learn how to address certain things. There's going to be times and moments where you're going to want to crash out, but you know, you're going to have to hold back
a little bit. And you know, that's crazy because this applies to everybody in your life. You know, if you're a listener watching, this applies to your relationships with your friends, your colleagues, your family. You know what I mean? If you want, like, you're doing people a disservice by not holding them accountable on things that they say they want to do. You know what I mean? We can't be yes men or yes women to every single person we come in contact with. It doesn't work. It's called enabling. It's called you don't really love that person.
Yeah.
You don't really love that person.
The right people will accept your feedback.
Absolutely.
Proper leaders, they understand the feedback is needed.
Yeah.
Man, I had to get that burp out.
No, but you know, I agree, right? And I'd even venture to take it a step further than that, right? People that don't want the feedback they don't want to grow.
Man, run.
So it's like if that person doesn't want to grow, why are they in your circle?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if your goal in life is to stay stagnant and be around people that are going to keep you in the same place, like, I'm cool with that. You do you, but I can't be a part of that because I've got too much ahead of me and too much I'm chasing right now.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I feel like people take it as disrespect instead of the opposite way. It's like, man, like, maybe I don't want to say I love you enough to walk away, because that's more for like someone that you hold dearly to your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, like, maybe a good friend, but if it's a homie that he's just acting up or something like that, bro, like, you're walking away because you're just trying to be, there you go. You're trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to damage the relationship any further.
Yeah.
So the fact that either you take it personally and you're all butthurt and this and that because, oh, this dude doesn't want to like mess with me, I would say maybe take it into consideration. It's like, check yourself. I'm not saying that maybe you did something wrong and that you fucked up, but just take a moment, analyze the situation, and then just learn to fucking let go.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of like all these couple topics we've been talking about for the past few minutes, like, to bring them all together, man. Like, I know in the past few episodes I've been talking about, like, I'm doing an audit on my life, right? Mm-hmm. And mainly it comes because I don't have time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not that time is running out in life, right? I've got too much going on. I don't have time.
But it is.
It is. Absolutely. I do agree with you. But the thing is, I've come to realize that there's so many people in my life that I give so much to that they're in the same cycles and they won't leave those cycles. Yeah. But I continue to try to give to them and like, hey, maybe do this. Hey, maybe do that.
That's hot topic.
I'm starting to just realize like, man, they don't want it and I'm wanting it for them so much that I'm taking away from me. So I love you, gotta back up because I respect you so much and I realize I'm putting that pressure on you.
You're not ready for it.
Pressure. Yeah, it's not your, it's my pressure.
Yeah.
I'm expecting you to be me and want to work the way that I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've just got to let you do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's real.
If you need to vent, the line's open. Yeah. But I'm not here to walk with you through this anymore.
Yeah.
And since we're tying everything together, it goes back to self-awareness. Mm-hmm. There's a level of self-awareness and self-love that you got to have for yourself in order to make those tough decisions. Mm-hmm. With transparency, I had to learn how to cut my own mom. Yeah. And that was probably one of like the most difficult decisions that I did, because it was always seeking for approval. It was always seeking, and bro, like I'm telling you, man, like before the pod, when we were talking about fathers and how you never skipped high school because how afraid you were, bro, that was me. Legit, I was never a bad kid, dude.
Yeah.
I was not straight Fs or anything like that, bro. But it was always that seeking for approval, always doing the right thing, and it was never enough. And again, just the years, getting around the right circles, getting around people that actually do show love back, the level of self-awareness has got to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to make very tough decisions.
That takes work, bro.
Yeah,
that shit don't come easy, bro. Like self-awareness,
yeah.
that is a full-time job. It is a full-time job. You know what I mean? Even like the video that I showed you guys was like, bro, like it took me 35 years to get that level. Like that level I feel, and even now I feel like there's still more to do. You know what I mean? It's like it's a never satisfied, never ending process and journey of self-development. That's why you got to read books. That's why you got to gather different perspectives so you can see, so you can have so many different perspectives that allows you to formulate your own perspective, because based off of everybody else, okay, this is why this person thinks that. I never heard that before. I never thought of it that way. Okay, now I can really get a better idea of like who I am and what I want to represent, because I've listened and learned and built relationship with so many different people from so many different walks of life. And I feel like that plays such a huge part in your own self-awareness, because you're like, okay, I don't want to take that from this person, but I want to take this from that person. I don't want to take that from this person, but I do like this about this person. You kind of build you know what I mean? And like, you know, I feel like it takes time, because you got to meet people, you got to do different things, you got to shake hands, you got to fail, you got to get your heart broken, you got to do these things in order to build you, to know what your boundaries are, because you can't know your boundaries if you haven't had your boundaries tested. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things in life that we have to go through in order to build that self-awareness, but you can start at a young age by, you know, getting self-development books and reading. And I think that's like a lost art, bro. It's like reading the self-development books, bro, like literally it just opens your minds up. You know, we already talked about that. Once your mind expands, it can never go back to its original state. So the more you can expand your brain and more self-developed, the more self-aware you become and who you are, the more conviction you're going to have with who you are and the more belief you have. And then you can literally do anything. If you have conviction and belief, really there's not shit that can stop you. You know what I'm saying? I truly believe it. There's really nothing that can stop you. You really can only stop yourself.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I do want to touch on something. You're talking about taking the influence from different people within your life to create who you are. Now, I want to talk about that from the branding aspect, like building your brand, creating your online persona, even, you know, finding other creators to kind of inspire you to create who you want to become. Like, how's your process with that? Oh, man, that's so interesting, because there's creators who I like, and I like their delivery. I really like how like their aesthetic, you know, and I like the way they just create. I like people who are unique, you know, like where I can point them out of a crowd of like sea of social media people. Like, okay, that guy has his own style. I can feel it. You know what I mean? And everything he posts, I'm like David Perkins. You know, David Perkins is unique, bro. And it's like, I love it. Quest Hawk, his is unique. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're different. Everybody brings different things. So like, I take a little bit like, it depends on what I want to do too, because where I'm pivoting now, like I don't look as David as an inspiration. You know what I mean? I look at it as I'm like, I just like his content. You know what I'm saying? My content now is like, I'm trying to look for more towards like speakers. You know what I mean? Like people who speak and can articulate their message very well. You know what I mean? But still keep it on brand. Like I like Stephen Bartlett. You know what I mean? Like I love The Diary of a CEO. His podcast is so good, and the way he speaks is so good. So like, I guess I look, you know, how can I relate to them, and how can I like spin what they do and make it like my own? You know what I mean? So it really depends on like who. It's interesting, because I'm like, I find inspiration in so many people.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is the way the algorithm feeds you is, for example, you find someone and then more people will start pop up eventually, little by little. And you're like, oh, this and that. So that's why I say it's very important the way you treat social media, right? If you're just a consumer, then be self-aware. Yeah. Be realistic. We're talking about here about the 9 to 5 and maybe possibly quitting and becoming a full-time creator. I mean, if you're here, you're listening to this realistically, if you're happy in your 9 to 5, you've won.
Yeah, bro, you won.
Like there's no necessity for you. Like I've known people making millions of dollars that are highly unhappy with the outcome that they have and the responsibilities that they have. And I know people making $60K a year that are coaching the football team, exactly, flag football and all of that. And they're stoked about life.
Yeah.
So again, like if you're hearing these conversations, don't get information overload or anything like that. Yeah. Again, self-awareness. If you're good, you dedicated yourself to a career and you found yourself where your job is treating you properly and you have good people around you in your 9 to 5 and all of that, then become that intrapreneur and bring things to the table so they could eventually value you more. Yeah. I was having a conversation with my brother possibly about 1.5 years ago. He comes to me and he tells me, damn, man, I see everything that you're doing and it's inspiring. And I want to do something like that too. But I just cannot get myself to do something. So, okay, I break down this whole process and I go through this whole process just of self-discovery just to see what it is, where he clicks and whatnot and this and that. And we find a couple of things. And I tell him, go execute on those things. And if you like them, come back to me and let me know what click and what not. Never again did I touch on the execution on it. The action itself was going to determine whether or not I needed to pour more into that. Yeah. I never heard from it. Months later, I get the same conversation. Hey man, like I want to do something.
God, I hate people like that.
This and that. And I'm just like, oof, man.
Those are the conversations I hate. Like not hate, but I don't like. I'm like, bro, like stop telling me what you want to do and just do it, bro.
Because you know what to do. Like, I believe you just share something similar. God already put it in your head. You already know the things that you need to do. You just got to pull on them.
You got to do it.
But this is what I told my brother is like, okay, self-awareness. Historically, throughout your whole life, you've excelled in academics. You've graduated with honors. You went to one of the top universities in the whole Central America continent. Graduated with honors, this and that, found a good job. But he found himself in cycles of people not valuing him. So and it's okay. That's also okay. It's okay for you to jump from job to job. I would say realistically, because if you are in the 9 to 5 corporate America, try to stick around for like minimum of 2.5 years. Yeah, so your resume doesn't look too bummed out, jumping around all the time. But what I told him was continue your education as a professional. Yeah. Get more degrees and more certificates and this and that. He said, that's not a bad idea. He enrolled in certain courses, this and that. 1 year later, dude doubled and a half his income.
Damn, that's fire. Good for him.
And the job gets easier at that level.
Now his upper people are trying to position him to be the next one up.
Yeah.
But he needs to clear certain other certifications and things like that. So that's what I'm saying, like self-awareness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I identify myself. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to find a place where I was able to pour into people. And I was never able to find it.
Yeah.
During my corporate gig, I found myself in a loop that the better I performed and the better I stood out and like on top of all my other teammates, the worst I would get rewarded by getting way more work, way more overload, and there was never conversations of more pay. Mm-hmm. There was a point where, and this was right before I took the decision of leaving, they fired 2 of the people from my department because they figured out that Steve was pretty much doing all of their work.
Right.
Because I didn't want to fall behind and I didn't want like people shining down on our department.
Right.
So like I took it upon myself. It's like, okay, this fucking people are not doing nothing. I got to keep up. Yeah. And they fire them. I'm happy about it. They keep me 2 months telling me we're in the process of hiring. We're in the process of hiring some more people.
But you're doing the job already.
And I'm already doing the job. And then he came to a conversation where I'm sitting down with my, the director of the department. And I told him, listen, man, like I've been doing the job.
What's up?
Like I've been doing the job and I'll be more than happy to continue doing the job as long as you guys give me those 2 salaries. oh, Steve, the company just put a freeze on hiring and this and that. I kid you not, a month later, that's when I submitted my resignation letter and I left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just a little bit on that story.
That, yeah. And it's every conversation we have, I like to take something away and apply it to like my current situation and figure out how I'm going to move forward with it. And even the self-discovery part, like you guys know right now, I'm in the process of, like we said, killing myself. Mm-hmm. Like I'm in the process of killing the moniker that is. And by the time this comes out, obviously it'll be done.
I've been waiting.
I know you have.
I ain't gonna lie. I've been checking your fucking name, dog. And I'm like, okay, when is it gonna happen?
Yeah. But the scary part of it is the self-discovery part.
Yeah.
Because I'm someone new now and I've realized that. Like I've been this fitness guy for so long. And it's not that I'm not him, but I'm so many other things now as well.
You realize that you're more than that.
Exactly.
You realize that you have more value and that you have a ton more to bring to the table to your audience.
What I always say, man, you can only record a deadlift so many times.
Yeah, facts.
You only have so many angles in the gym, right? Yeah. And like, hey, that suppresses my creative expression.
It gets boring after a while. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, bro. The fitness content. Go ahead.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, it's like I'm tired of looking at that myself. Mm-hmm. And I know I have more to provide and higher offers to provide. So, but that's the scary part, the jump. Like I've known myself as this person for so long, Now making this transition and figuring out who and what I want to be next and what that looks like, that is the toughest part of it all.
It's scary, man, because, for example, if you've stuck to a certain image, especially online, people recognize you for that. And it has happened recently to me that I've seen a couple of accounts where there were sales representatives and then there were social media managers. And now they're doing like construction.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, hold up, what are you?
What happened? Yeah.
So T talked about it and he said, for me, in order to take you seriously, I need to see some consistency in the things that you do. Mm-hmm. So the scary part, and I wanted to ask you this, do you feel the scary aspect of it is the consistency of keeping up with the new kind of content and how you're going to be showing up? Yeah. Or where do you believe, not only, it's a two-part, and I don't mean to overload you.
No, I love it.
So where does that fear stems from? Mm-hmm. Because you're it. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of showcasing different. And then number two is, do you feel that you're just burned out on the fitness aspect of things and this is why you're pivoting?
Yeah. So I'll start with that question first, right? Am I burnt out on fitness? I wouldn't say so. I think my life has just dictated other things now. Like I used to bodybuild, so that made it easy, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what I was, who I was. That was my level of expertise.
There's more documentation.
Yeah. So it's easy to document that life, right? Mm. But as I grow as a creator, as I grow as a man, as a father, and I look at my history, like the story is so much more. And I have so much more, and I feel like I don't have a platform to tell those things. And as a creative, it's kind of suppressing. It's like you can't get those things out. I know you understand. I know you understand. Yeah. It's like there are things in your head that you can't get out. And you almost start to live in this life of like, oh, like I was out to tacos, right? And I wanted to post, and I'm like, oh, fitness life. This isn't what people want to see. I can't be showing this. But at the end of the day, that's who I am, right? But I've realized the niche, becoming so niche and not being the niche, suffocated me.
Yeah, it does.
To the point where I didn't want to create. And I told you, I woke up one day and I'm like, dude, I just didn't want to create. I just didn't have it in me. I didn't want to pick up the camera. I didn't want to edit anything, nothing. I did not want to work on it at all. I did not want to be Pump Cover Poppy at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And bro, I hit T right away. Like, yo, bro, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's deep.
And on top of it all, I mean, the first question is like, bro, I've had so many big creators, not just T. T's always giving me my flowers, but big creators on different levels, especially like my boy Steven G, you know, and they've come to me and they've been like, bro, like you've got so much, you're not showing it. And, you know, it took forever. I don't want to say forever because I feel like 5 years is not like a lot of time in the world of like social media. Mm-hmm. But it really, with hard commitment, it took me maybe 2 years to grow to where I am now.
Yeah.
From like 1,500 followers, 2,000 followers maybe to where I'm at like 6K right now. And it hasn't been as consistent right now because I'm planning, right? Mm-hmm. But when I have people that are at the top, people that could be considered near the top, like 5-10%, right? Mm-hmm. Telling me like, you have something special.
Right.
You can provide so much more. What are you doing about it? You start thinking that to yourself too, right?
Right.
And I'm just trying to, and let me know if I'm not answering the question.
You are.
I'm just trying to ensure that I have my happiness out of it, mm-hmm. but I'm squeezing the juice out of this too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm the type of person, I don't want anything left on the table. Mm-hmm. So whatever this turns out to be, I want to make sure I did everything in my power to A, ensure I was happy, but B, make sure I executed.
Absolutely.
I respect that.
Yeah. I respect that too.
I respect that. Yeah, my mentality is I want the wheels well spent.
Yeah.
When I go. So some of the topics that we had here, and while we stay on the whole burnout situation, as a content creator, I believe it's safe to say that we all go through burnout. You just talked about yours.
Yeah.
I want to hear about T. There has been moments where we've had conversations behind the scenes and things like that, where you've shared with us that there has been moments where it's been fucking dark. Mm-hmm. Does that come together with the whole content burnout? Why don't you share a little bit on that?
That type of burnout and content burnout, I think, would be different. Content burnout is like, I get tired of, I'm not, first of all, the algorithm, I'm going to be honest, as a content creator, the algorithm used to piss me off. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dude, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why is my shit not moving? You know what I mean? It just like what every content creator goes through, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, been there so many times. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Why is this not working? And then you got to pivot. And then once you're pivoting, I've gotten really good at pivoting, like gradually and smoothly and tastefully, where it's not just so abrupt, but it's still hard. You know what I mean? Because you're like, okay, but now I got to switch my whole content style. Or if I work with a company, I couldn't use so much content because it had that brand in it. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I can't showcase that. So I made it hard. I think once I got free from working with any brands, I think my content started coming a lot better. I didn't have as much burnout. You know what I mean? Because before, when I'm working for brands, I'm like, okay, but I'm on a time limit every day. Like I need this X amount of posts every single month. I think when I got to the point where I could do posts and do whatever the fuck I want whenever I wanted, that was when I was like, okay, like this is way better than having to like actually work for a brand. Yeah, I'm getting paid, but like you get burnt out because you're like, fuck, I gotta have this due at this time. I gotta have this due at that time. I gotta do all this. I gotta use my code X amount of times. I gotta post X amount of stories. That's when I was like, that's when the burnout came. Cause I'm like, bro, I'm tired, bro. Like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I want to create content when I want to create content. Yeah. And now that in my life, I don't have as much burnout right now because it's like, I get to post whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. You know what I mean? And you do go through where you're like, you think you got to post every single day, which you don't, you know, batching content, you know, I've talked about that plenty of times. Batching content makes it help, but you start running, you know, I think creative blocks, those are the worst. Yes. Those are the worst where like, you're just like, dude, like, it's just not registering as like, you know, that flow state isn't just there. Like you're trying to think of something like, bro, what can I do? And it's just, nothing's like clicking. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like what is going on? Like I'll go from one day to be like, bro, I have so many fucking ideas, bro. Let's go run them all. You know what I mean? And I'll be one day and I'm like, another day I'll be like, you can just hear nothing turning. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think the creative blocks is what really sucks. And I think that's when you just need to step away from the camera and just go outside and be in nature and walk and, you know, just get away from the camera and think about it and work on different things. I think that's when the creativity comes for you. But the burnout it'll definitely come, because especially when you're not seeing results. Yeah. That's when the burnout, I feel like the burnout came for me when I wasn't seeing the results that I was hoping for. I put all this effort into something and I'm like, okay, it's getting to a point I'm like, I'm getting sick of doing this shit because I'm not seeing any fucking results. And, you know, and of course you have to be consistent. And I'm a consistent motherfucker. And I'm like, and I'm saying this from someone who's really consistent. So you get burnt out. So I just like, when I get burnt out, I just stop making content. I just use all my old shit. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm like, like even right now, I'm gonna be real. Like right now, my content that I'm trying to create for like actual video content, I'm like, bro, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm at that point, especially my Instagram. Like, I want to like, sometimes I'm like, I want to switch it all to like quotes and memes. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that. And it's like, I get these back and forths. You know what I mean? I get these back and forths, and I'm listening to God. I'm like, God, I know you keep trying to tell me to do. Here I go. Sometimes I still hesitate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not something I can switch off overnight where I'm like, listen to God, like everything. I still have those moments where I'm like, nah, bro, I need to do it this way. And he's like, no, do it this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's still something like I've been listening, but now I need to like really like fully listen. Yeah, commit. You know what I mean? I'm human.
I'm a big believer that burnout occurs from the lack of fulfillment.
Yeah.
Based on the results that you are seeking.
Never thought about that.
Because and trust me, this is not something that, like, literally this just came to mind as you were speaking that. Because at this stage, God is good. I shared with you guys some like incredible fucking news yesterday. I mean, realistically, where I'm at is it's surpassed like way more than I ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. But I also remember being stuck in a room, dark, with no more creative juice, having deliverables to be met for clients, not having enough resources, not having a crew to ride with, to like call someone to truly like have your back and be like, yo, no, man, like get yourself up, pick shit up. If you truly analyze burnout, the lack of fulfillment, let's take, for example, a 9-to-5. I was stuck in a cubicle, and I used to consider that soul crushing. There was no ends meet. There was nothing. There was no encouragement. There was no dopamine hit of like, you did something good, like here's a reward or anything like that. And I once heard, if you can't find it, build it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it has taken 7 years, but you know, where we're at, the burnout is going to test you as a creator, as a professional. But here you have 3 perfect examples of people that have stuck with it.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not know that you're going to have to sacrifice a whole lot in order to get to your dream.
Yeah.
So if you are in that burnout section, in that burnout process, just step back. It's okay for you to let go of the gas.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to step back, recoup a couple of days, but then fucking come back. If you're going to step back, don't make it as an excuse for you to go and fuck off and do whatever it is. Take that time for you to gather your thoughts and continue after what you're pursuing. The burnout, I feel, tests a whole lot of creators, and that's where people are like, you know what, this is not for me, and then boom.
Yeah.
They go, we've talked about it before, SOS, shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, syndrome.
So if you're going through it, stick.
Yeah.
Stick, ride it out, be a buffalo. Just ride it, keep going through the storm.
I like that, though, be a buffalo. I like that. And, you know, I think you guys have some extremely valid points when it comes to burnout. And, you know, your point about fulfillment really hits. I was working with a brand that I thought I was going to work with long term, and I decided not to. It's a more recent brand.
Oh, okay.
We spoke about it. You helped me work that deal.
Okay, yeah.
So I started working with them, and they're a well-known brand, and I was excited for it. But man, when I started shooting the content for them, it's okay. No logos, no this, no that, no this, no that. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. Now, I didn't know these things before we got into it, right? And I started working with them. I'm creating fire, and I send it in, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we got to send it to our legal team. Oh, all right, that's cool. Well, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have this, you can't have that. This video has way too many logos in it. Yeah, it's like, so all this content I just created for you doesn't work. Okay. Now let me try to make more. Right in that moment, the creative block hit. Right in that moment. Because A, I wasn't getting the fulfillment. But B, there was so much restriction on my creative process that I couldn't create.
Yeah.
And it smothered me as a creator.
Yeah.
So at that point, I just gave them what fit the criteria. Wasn't me. Didn't have my flavor, didn't have my style, anything. And I'm like, let's push it on. So I say that to say, because you were talking about when you work with brands, the difficulty, and we worked for one of the same brands at one point. And I know what you're talking about. The 3-story posts a week,
Yeah, bro.
X amount
all
on your
that
grid,
shit, bro.
and it's like they will hound you
It's a job.
for the pennies.
Yeah, bro, it's a job, and that's like I didn't sign up to do what I do to be told what to do, you know. And it's like it's so interesting, you know what I mean? Because it also depends on what type of brand deals you're getting. Because I got homies that are getting $25,000 brand deals, $30,000 brand deals, so that hits a little different, you know what I mean?
So I mean, like if you, so I guess this is a lesson learned, right? Like, okay, it didn't fulfill you because perhaps there was, and I gotta say, I always play devil's advocate over here in the pod, right? I'm the middleman. I gotta say, unfortunately, it kind of seems like there was a lack of communication between both parties, them and you, because you're saying then after the fact of you creating, then they gave you the guidelines to follow, which I believe is a major drop on their end. So at the end of the day, man, I'm glad you're just not working with them anymore, because if a brand starts off with not even giving you the necessary tools or transparency from the get-go to succeed and establishing what's needed, not after you spend 10, 15 hours shooting content and driving to a place, and like that's valuable.
Yeah.
But people don't get that.
No, they don't. And, you know, that's a tough part about working with brands. And I agree with you. And there's no love loss or anything for that brand. If we could come to different terms, I would absolutely work with them again, right? But that's just the power of, that's the price of doing business.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're right. I could have asked, I could have been more clear. And, you know, I've just never worked under those conditions. Typically, it's like, hey, here's the product. Go shoot it. This is the terms of what we're going to pay.
Which is typical UGC.
Yeah. This is your commission. This is what we'll send you a month. And here's a tip, bro. Don't just take product. You're worth way more than that. Do not take product. Yeah. Just only product.
Unless you really like the product.
Unless you really like the product, right? Yeah. But I personally feel you're selling yourself short.
If you're already somewhat of a established brand, if you're someone that is on the come up and everything, I would say, bro,
take anything you get.
Do as much free shit that you could do, man. And I know it's a controversy. Value your time. I agree 1,000%. But if you're someone that does not have the experience, the grit, and all of that, build it up. We talked about it on last 2 podcasts ago with Fads. Send out the DMs, work for free. I've said it in this podcast before. I gave out free work for nearly a year and a half to be able to build up the reputation. So if you're someone that's already done the work,
that's exactly
absolutely value your time and what you bring to the table. But if you're someone that is on the come up, know that you're going to have to compromise a whole lot.
Yeah.
And what you have right now, at least I would like to believe, is you have way more time than assets to bring to the table for them. So,
and thank you for clearing that up, because that's exactly what I mean by that. Because I've got homies who have big followings, right? And they're working with big brands. And I'm talking about like 30, 40K followers. And I'm like, yo, like, they bounce the ideas off of me. Like, yo, like, this is what's happening with this brand. I'm like, yo, how much are they trying to offer you? Oh, no, they just gave me a code and sent me stuff. Like, okay, like, what's... Oh, like 2%. There's no way. Oh. At 30, 40K, why are you...
rough.
2%?
Why are you getting 2%?
Yeah.
You got me fucked up.
You know so when I say... What I mean when I say this is learn to value yourself as a creative, learn to value your platform, learn to value the power of your platform. Yeah. Obviously, understand where you're at in the game. Because if you're, 2K, I was happy when I got that 5% offer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but even in that, I negotiated that.
I mean, before when I got into the creative business aspect of things, even to this day, one of the commonalities that you hear is creatives are not good with business. Or creatives get taken advantage of because they don't know business. I don't want to say that is just creatives. At this point, I like to believe that the majority of people don't actually know. Because, for example, going back, even when it comes to negotiating a salary, if you're on a 9 to 5, right?
I've done this.
I've done this too. I remember coming in. It's like, hey, man, like my 1 year is coming up. I wanted to see if there was like a review that I'm gonna receive, and you know what kind of increase raise I'm gonna do, and this and that. Okay, yeah, we'll have a meeting. Versus, hey man, I just wanted to let you know that the last project that you told me is actually 2 days ahead. And I know that my 1 year is about to come around. I actually have a very quick slide that I put together to show you what I've been able to accomplish with the team, and to show you the progress that we've been able to accomplish throughout this past quarter. Would it be okay to maybe just schedule a quick 30 minutes with you?
Yep.
It's different.
Very fucking different. And what it's
Positioning.
Not only that, it's knowing how to use your fucking mouth on how to speak. Dude, I'm an immigrant. English is my second language. I know you guys can recognize the accent behind it. But if you know how to open your mouth and ask for the things that are needed appropriately, bro, the doors that are going to open up for you, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's very, and it kind of hurts because I do see creatives, just content creators overall getting taken advantage because attention is the new currency. You guys are able to harness it. The businesses are recognizing that. And a lot of creators are just getting crushed and being taken advantage of because they don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
Right.
So once again, for the listener, you have all angles here covered to make sure you guys are able to hopefully bypass some of this experiences that we have gone through for you already. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I know you talked about it before when people are like, oh, like I want to be like you. And to your point, it's why would you want to be like me when I've already given you the platform to be where I'm at?
Right.
You should be way beyond me now.
Right.
You should take everything I'm teaching you right now and you should run with that because I've already paved this road.
Right.
This road is clear for you. So your next step is here. And I expect you to be there. I expect everything that I've done. If I take somebody under the wing, everything that I've done, you need to be way beyond that when I'm done with you. And that's it.
Think about it as I can look at someone's content, and mentorship is very valuable. I can look at someone's content and I can know, for the most part, I can recognize exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it, that I wouldn't even need to pay for their mentorship because I know what you're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just up to me to fucking do it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can see it. Like, you can see how you're doing it. I can see your angles. I can see what you're saying, the hooks. You know what I mean? Of course, you got to be in a position to notice those little things from a producer standpoint rather than a consumer. But like, people give the sauce away in their content every single day. You know what I mean? They give it away because it's in their content. It's how they operate. You can tell. Like, you can literally break down someone's content. Like, okay, this is how they're doing. Click on their link, see their offers, see what they offer, go through all their funnels, get all their emails. People's business plans are literally broken down right in front of you, but it's up to you to see it. You know what I mean?
I want to touch on this though, because it's like T keeps talking about the production consumer aspect of like of social media. Don't get it twisted. Even when you're producing content, you need to be consuming. That is the only way you'll know how to take it to the next level. That's the only way you know what people are doing, how they're doing it, how you can put that into your own content. Like you said, the offers they're providing, like social media is made to be inspiration.
What I tell most of the people that come to me and they ask me, how have you been able to build this thing? I probably deal with the same situation with you because up front, people think that sometimes I'm an asshole. Yeah. Or you seem to be very like cutthroat. The way I tell them is you shut the fuck up and you listen. Because if you walk into a room and you think that you're the smartest or you actually maybe do have a whole ton to to provide to them or anything like that, especially if you're walking into rooms where millions of dollars are being discussed and whatnot, and you're just on the back documenting, right? A lot of content creators may seem like, man, that's boring. Like, what the hell? Like, that's them. That's their business and this, and that. The way I was able to sit down and have this kind of conversations with you guys is because I shut the fuck up for many years. And I became a student of the game. Yeah. I don't even know why we brought that up. I think it was just stemming from what T has said. But I felt like I needed to get that out.
But, you know, I love that because exactly what you're saying right now, I've been thinking it, and I was going to bring it up at some point. Because even like we talked about the conversation we were having and me being quiet, I've learned a long time ago the power of shutting the fuck up. You will learn so much from that. Because one thing my uncle taught me when I was younger, there are two things that get men in trouble. Not being able to control his lust and not being able to listen.
I love that.
And that is the true power of life, right? It's like if you can't be in a room and control yourself and control your urges, and you can't just sit down and understand, you may not be the smartest in the room. Because even you learn in negotiations, the first one to talk loses.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like even in this setting, I love the fact that I'm not the smartest in the room when it comes to these topics, right?
Same.
Because it's like I can learn so much and I level up so much so that I've begun to audit my outside life and be like, yo, like we need to trim the fat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
And that's all from the power of just shutting up.
I just unfollowed 500 people yesterday. So trust.
Hey, you know, I'm kind of on that right now.
Yeah, bro. I've been like, bro, this is not, why am I following you, bro? Like, you know what I mean? What am I doing? What are we doing here? So I completely, when you said all of your people, I've been doing that, bro.
I'm on a silent cleanup.
Yeah, I've been just, bro. I'm like, I've been scrolling. I'm like, there's no point in this.
Yeah.
What is the point in this?
A lot of people don't realize you might have got cut from the roster and you don't even know.
Literally 500, bro. I let 500 go. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah,
like, wait, who are you guys?
Yeah, no, social media. It's really, again, the way you treat social media would truly impact your life. I mean, it has to me. It has to many entrepreneurs I've known. Yeah. I'm very sure to you guys, close people, social media in itself has changed people's lives. But the commonality that you notice is we're fucking serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't take it as like, oh, I'm gonna turn on the camera and I'm gonna start doing like my fucking dances and shit like that. It's like not at all. And brings me to the next point. What is the point of you? Because the reality is social media, a lot of people, what they're doing, they're just dopamine chasing.
Yeah.
They're just dopamine chasing. There's no ends to it's. What's the point of going viral and you don't even have some sort of funnel to drive the people?
Yeah.
And maybe not even necessarily because you're trying to sell them something, but because you're trying to actually own your audience. What happens if Instagram goes ahead or Meta shuts down everything?
Yeah.
Where are your demographics, your email lists, text messages to reach out to people with whatever it is that you're doing?
What he's saying right now, please fucking listen, because this is as real as it gets, bro. Because it's one of my biggest mistakes, younger, not collecting data. I still have a lot of emails, don't get me wrong, but I could have so much more if I didn't have anything. If you don't have anything, create a lead magnet that gives you data.
It really,
literally.
Yes, man. When it comes to this game, you really have to take a moment, sit down and project and try to reverse engineer what it is. Or if you see someone that's already doing it, send a DM, ask questions, or maybe don't reach out to them directly, but tap into someone that you see that is rocking with them.
Mm-hmm.
My father used to tell me when I was a kid, asking around will get you to China.
I like that.
The message behind that is be resourceful.
Yes.
Don't let common excuses and barriers stop you from getting to where your destination is.
We got YouTube and Google and fucking
right
everything.
Now, bro. Right now, tools. With all the tools,
there's no excuse.
If you're like, honestly, man, it boggles my mind. There's people making millions of dollars because they enjoy the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, they like cleaning up their house.
We've talked about it before. So if you're, and again, this is not encouraging you to give up your 9 to 5, your work, but there's money out there to supplement your lifestyle. And I am 100% sure that if you find that vehicle that is making you the money to reach your freedom, because that's what we talk about all the time, right? We're looking for freedom, right? And I want to tie it to the next. Are we looking for freedom, or are we looking to just run away from our responsibilities?
Yeah, that's fact. What do you want out of it? I think too many people want things but don't know what their end goal is.
They want things, but they don't know what they want.
Yeah, they want the freedom. What the fuck are you gonna do with all the freedom? What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you still got to manage the business. No one truly has their business on. We're getting, it's really hard, but no one truly has their business on autopilot. You still have to have meetings with their people. AI is making it a lot easier. Don't get me wrong, but you still have to create. You still got to adapt. You still got to adjust to new times, new developments, new trends. There's a lot to it. So when you do this, it becomes a 24/7. At least your 9 to 5 is your 9 to 5. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is a full-time gig, bro.
Yeah.
There's no days off, because even the days that you are off, you're thinking about, okay, what do I need to do?
There's no clocking out.
Yeah, there's no clocking out. There's no clocking out, bro. Yeah. You might clock out physically, but your brain is clocked in 24/7, bro.
I think the thing is, bro, it's like when you're a high drive person, we talk about the ADHD all the time.
Dude, my ADHD is fucking annoying. I hate it.
Well, it just kicked in just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
For mine, at least.
Like, this is, speaking for myself, this is where you want to be. Because, like, I can't see any point where I truly retire and, like, I can only just sit on the beach and
fuck that, I can't.
Drink
No. I love y'all, but nigga, when my time, I am deleting everything, bro. If I have enough money, I could exit the good amount of bread.
Nah. Well, I mean, even like from the, like me, like I will always need like a business or something to work.
Yeah, see me, nah.
See, like, I don't.
I love that about you though, because it couldn't be
I'm
me.
just too high drive, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's
why, and it's so funny. I was just talking about this like 2 days ago with my wife, because I've mentioned here, I started the business by praying to God to give me extra $500 a month, and He did, and that could have just been it. But then I just kept showing up, and then I said, "What if we just like fuck around and find out? What if?" And I was like, well, man, what if I could get $2,500 extra a month?
Yeah.
That's like half of my salary. And I was just projecting this fucking dream. And then it happened. And then I found myself in the same situation. It's like, okay, like we did it.
Yeah, let's get 10.
So then it's like, okay, I have this skill. I'm just going to keep showing up. God is providing. People are happy and they're responding with a product. And then he got to 10.
Yeah.
And the numbers that we're running right now, they're just a blessing. And I was telling my wife, it's like, there's no, realistically, because of the way, at least I like to think I'm built, maybe you, Nico, the way you're built, there'll never be a full autopilot.
No.
And even if there are exits of multiple millions of dollars and things like that, I know I'll find myself building something else. I'm built to build.
Yeah, I respect that. Me, once I make my 100 million, I'm out of here, bro. I'm not doing nothing. I'm so lazy, I'm motivated, if that makes sense.
No, that
I'm motivated to be lazy. Like, I work hard so I could be lazy and later in my life and not do anything, literally.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can't be bored, bro. I can't be left to my own devices.
Bro, I could be bored every day. I'll sit on the beach drinking every day and have a good time. Sometimes, bro, I'm so ready to be done with creating content and building businesses. I want my exit money so I can chill, bro.
He says that.
He says that, bro.
He says that.
I promise you, bro. Look, y'all must.
We said it. Like we actually addressed it before in this podcast. Like, okay, so for example, you're going to tell me that the passion that you have for, again, like content creation, networking, your boys, you remove, and again, right, is okay, why the burnout? The lack of fulfillment. Therefore, you don't do. So if now you're overflowing with everything that you now you're in abundance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're able to hire people and put people in place and give blessings of salaries and jobs. You're not gonna tell me and sit down here.
I'm listening to him, but I know him.
You and I know him, bro. Like we're builders, bro. We're leaders. This is what we do. You're not gonna tell me that you're not gonna sit down and chop it up with the boys on a podcast and then just keep that going.
This is my thing too. Like I know this fool, bro. He likes to inspire.
Maybe because I want to.
He likes to talk.
He likes the idea.
I like the idea of it.
He likes the idea.
Okay, I'm gonna give you this. He gonna be on the beach. Day 1, everything's amazing. He's loving it. He got the whip. He's doing what he wants. Day 2, everything's still good.
I give him
day
2
3,
weeks.
he's like,
no, I give him 2 weeks.
Day 3 is gonna start setting in.
He's gonna try to prove us wrong. He's gonna try to prove us wrong and start doing the most.
He's gonna do 6 days.
Like yo guys, man,
what's up?
Let's fly down to Tulum and let's record a podcast real quick.
Yeah. He's got too much to say and too much to provide to the world, and he's such a big-hearted, kind-hearted person.
Thank you, bro.
That he's gonna want to continue to give back.
Absolutely.
That's the reason why I reached out and I told him, dude, if you ever want to start a podcast, because I know how much you have to say and how much you bring to the table, like I'm down for this. Mm-hmm. You know, so we've talked about it before. It's a disservice of us not being able to pour into the audience of all the experiences that we've lived. Mm-hmm. So the idea is nice.
It did sound nice. Now you guys talk about it, I'm like, you're right. I'll see. At that point, I'll probably just give money away. I'll probably record it, go out and do give money away and talk, Beast bro.
Type shit.
Yeah, bro. But when you talk from that, when you're speaking from that place of abundance, it's your conversation, your speech is different, and I think it'd be a lot more powerful because it's like, I built it. I've done it. I've went through everything. I went through the pains, the hardships, and now you speak from a place of not survival, but a place of abundance. And that conversation is just a lot different. So I agree with what you guys are saying. I think I already have conviction, but having that type of conviction with making that much money to back it up, I think my speeches would be even 10 times more powerful because it's like, dude, I fucking did it.
Yeah,
exactly right. And one of the things that I remember you even mentioned, the conversations that we've had on the back end, like one of your motivations is to inspire other people to also do it. I've experienced it to a very low degree to this point. Ever since we started and all that, I had a client fly in from another state. He got super impacted with what we were doing and everything. And shout outs to you. If you're listening, you know who you are, man. Dude. And trust me, man, you also impacted my life. So kudos to you. But to hear the feedback and inspire other people, man. Like just talking about it, like it gives me.
Yeah, there's no better feeling.
Exactly.
There really isn't to compare.
So if we have the knowledge, and we're not giving back, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, that's valid,
bro. Even
I take that back, chat.
I take that back, chat.
Yeah, I take that back.
Even to the point of like, man, you had some interns in last week.
Yeah,
and really cool dudes. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with them. We kind of got straight to work.
Yeah,
but one of them hit me up after. I mean, he's like, man, like I love the pod. Like what you guys are doing here is great. And even to hear that is like it means something because we sit here and we live it every day. And after every pod, we talk to each other like, yo, that was amazing. Like we love the conversation, and everything. But to hear other people say it, or even like walking into work and they're like, yo, I watched this episode. Yeah. What's up, bro? It's fire. Those things, and knowing that we're inspiring. I've got people asking me like, yo, how do I get started already? Like, bro, I just started. Like,
yeah, facts. We try to figure this shit out ourselves.
Well, that's why we encourage them, right? Like, if you have questions, dropping in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if there are things that you want us to address, whether that's on the business aspect of things, selling, content creation, you have all of us. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor, and to the community as well. Leave a comment and let us know what it is that you're seeking so that we could try and help you guys out.
Yeah, and people DM me stuff about the pod all the time, and I tell them, leave the comment. Because at the end of the day, the thing that you have to say, there's probably 20, 30 people at the very least thinking the same thing.
That's right.
It is a disservice to your community.
Facts.
by not speaking out,
I
because
always
some people
compare it.
just,
I always compare it to the kids in class who are scared to raise their hand, but then they know the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they hear someone else say like, damn, I wish I would have raised my hand. And said
That was
something.
me.
Yeah, bro. Like,
me.
you know what I mean? Like, there's times where like, I used to love reading. I struggle. I'm like, I can read. You motherfuckers are illiterate. You know what I'm saying? So I used to like try to show out. But then I was also like, damn, I don't feel like reading today. You know what I'm saying? But like, just to, that's just a different perspective of what you're talking about. Like, people are just waiting. So like, whatever your comment is, someone's probably has the same comment or question. So like, don't hesitate to leave it. There's more people that are thinking the same things. Exactly. So
yeah, because at the end of the day, like I think Nipsey Hussle, we talk about him a lot, said the greatest act of humankind is to inspire.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's why I do it, because when I first started, I didn't know I was building a community. I didn't know I was building a brand. I didn't know what I was doing with social media. I just saw like people like you that I was like, oh, I just want to create, right? Then as you grow, I'm sure we've all gotten the DMs like, man, like you saved me from this, or bro, you helped me through this. Especially shout out Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
You know,
shout out to that.
Yeah.
like I've had so many men in my DMs, man, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And then I saw this video, and you really, really brought me together.
Yeah.
I've got one homie, he hits me up consistently, man. And he tells me like, bro, like you've inspired me. And he talks to me about his journey with God and how he's been closer to God and stuff like that. And he's like, man, like your videos telling me like I need to get up and do it. That's what's inspiring. Because at the end of the day, you know, like I want to be on the beach. My dream when I'm old and dusty, I just want to have a beachfront bar that I could, you know, roll down to and like do whatever, but I still want to inspire the world.
same.
You know?
Same, I agree. So I take that back, chat. My fault. I want to be rich, but I still want to talk my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Still like help people. Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to be rich and not have to worry about shit. I want to be able to do it on my time, on my own time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I want to be able to make my own schedule for it, not have to like, you know, I don't need payment from anybody. I want to be able to do it for free. You know what I mean? And not like still have to be in survival where I have to provide for my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just giving away that stuff for free is where I want to be.
Well, bro,
It's been a convo.
yeah, it has been one convo, and you know I enjoy this because it's different than everything else. I do like when it gets down to us and we just have this conversation. I think both of us talking about this beach, like it's just kind of like that safe space for us, right? It's like, because at the end of the day, it's like when you grow to the point of you've created and accomplished the things you want, you do want life to be easy. You want to be able to have that aspect of life where it's just like kind of you could step back a bit and the pressure isn't really there. So like you said, to your point, I think the information you can give is so much more because you have that clarity. You're not worrying about the bills. You're not worrying about the hustle of everyday life. You can step back and provide more because you don't have to worry about the payment. You don't have to worry about what the next thing is coming from, right?
I think that's the majority of, unfortunately, the issues I could say that I struggle with. I struggle with being a present father. I struggle with inner voice telling me you're not there for your kids when I know I am.
Yeah.
It's devil conversation. I'm very sure that there's lots of fathers we struggle with. Where's the money going to come from? Especially we're entrepreneurs. Am I showing up the right way? Am I checking myself when I come to my wife? Am I unloading things that I'm not supposed to and bringing it home that are not even related to this?
Oof, that's a big one.
My family shouldn't be suffering from things that are coming from the outside world that are being channeled through me, and then now I'm manifesting it on them.
Yeah.
While we're on the whole men's health month, I wanted to share some statistics for you guys, for all of you guys. And just remember, just having a conversation, just reaching out, it truly goes a long way. 88% of men receive their first flowers at their funeral.
Damn. Yeah. That's crazy.
80% of overall offings are men.
Yeah.
Fewer than 1 in every 5 seek help. Fewer than 1.
That's wild.
It's the second leading cause of death for men under 50. often takes more lives, men lives, than war, murder, or any other natural disaster.
That's wild, bro.
Males die by offering themselves 4 times more than females. That is 125 men dying every day.
That hits, man, and it almost makes me emotional. Not almost, man. It does, man. And I'm gonna be real and authentic and honest. I come from the veteran community. We hold a lot of those numbers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've got so many friends that I've lost to that battle.
Yeah.
I've fought that battle. To be completely honest, you know, I struggle. I don't want to say struggle because I don't even struggle with it because I've come to a point. I've sought after help and I've received help. And I want to say this the right way because I learned a long time ago to not let my mental health be a dictator in who I am or be a negative connotation in my life. Mm-hmm. But, you know, bipolar is something that runs in my family. It's something that I deal with. Mm-hmm. You know, it makes some days tough. And there's a lot of things that come with it. Severe depression, you know, mania. The list goes on, the insomnia that I deal with. Mm. And these things, you know, I learned in going through this, a lot of these things are hereditary. It's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done. You know, I just had a series of things trigger at the same time that caused me to start walking down this path, and I've accepted it. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but what you say hits because it's like, you've got to learn to take a step back. You've got to learn to evaluate yourself and your actions and what's going on and understand it's not your fault and it's also no one else's fault. So, yeah, vent, find your people, find your circle, the things you need to do to feel better mentally. But, especially in my case, like, I'm a crash out for a reason. I'm a hothead for a reason. It's something I deal with, and it's not an excuse, and I've realized that. Something that I didn't realize in my younger years. So I try to do my best to understand, is this emotion valid in this moment? Mm-hmm. Do I need to take a step back and find some help? Dude, I've lost so many friends to this.
Yeah.
So many.
I'm sure we all have stories of close ones going through certain scenarios. So that's why we often say to our crowd, we want to make you feel like you guys are sitting here with us. Mm-hmm. We encourage you guys to come and sit down here and chop it up with us. And from an honest and transparent heart, if any of you guys are dealing with absolutely anything, if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to a person that you know, just know that you have other 3 individuals that are here that are willing to hear out and try to help out in whatever it is that we can.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
We got to get some resources up.
Yeah, we'll definitely put some resources in the description too.
Yeah, and figure it out.
I think it's good to have people you could talk to. You know, it's very important.
That's how we started bonding too. We started talking about that.
Yeah, we started talking about that stuff. You know, the mental hurdles that, you know, as men we go through because we have a lot of expectation. We have a lot of stuff on our shoulders. You know what I mean? And we've been taught so long not to cry, not to feel things, just to like toughen up and just get through it, you know, which, you know, I do take some of that, you know, it has helped me, but also being able to just like feel and cry sometimes, there we go. Bro, like that, bro, there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make you any less of a man, doesn't make you insecure. It actually makes you more secure and more of a man that you can actually control and your emotional intelligence, that you have enough feeling to let it out rather than holding it in and letting that build up, letting those demons build up, bro. It's not good for you. Mm-hmm. So going to be able to talk to people, let your feelings out and feeling them, you know what I mean? Don't avoidance. I feel like avoidance is a lot of things that, I feel like avoidance is just, you know, avoiding things and not actually feeling them and doing the work is what hinders a lot of men. And then that's what causes them to, you know, not be here with us anymore. So, you know, just be active and be aware and do the work, you know, and if you're going through something, find the necessary tools and resources and try to put in the work.
Yeah. Reach out.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately our time's come to an end. On a beautiful note. It's a
Really,
heavy
it really
topic.
is.
Yeah, it's a heavy topic, but it's a beautiful note. Just know there are resources. There's help.
Yeah, and that's we're here to help too. You know, we're here to bring, inspire, and create a voice. For the youth, for people who are older, fathers. Just people from all walks of life. This is a safe space. That's really what we talk about. Like we said before in the first episode, there'll be plenty of tears. Coming through these episodes. A lot of vulnerability, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
I was close today.
You didn't though.
Hey, yeah.
I did notice.
I was close.
I did notice. Yeah.
But it's an open space, man.
Yeah.
And that's why we always say, just want you right here.
Right here, man.
Right here with us.
Spark your cheeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're doing your Sunday cleaning.
Yeah.
You're doing your juicing. Shout out to all of you guys that have been resharing.
Yes.
All of you guys tagging us.
In stories
the audience,
and everything.
Exactly. The audience. We bring this because of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want to make sure we keep pouring onto you. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as we said, leave it in the comments. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know what it is that, if you want to pick our brains, let us know. But until the next one, guys, we'll see you.
Peace.